We have Major Mohammed Ali Shah live with us on the broadcast. We also have Ambassador Deepak Vora with us today. A very good morning to you and thank you for joining with us today. Major Mohammed Ali Shah, taking the question to you now. Biden has spoken to Putin. Now this call comes at a time when US is saying that Russia could invade Ukraine on short notice. What your thoughts?
Oh, well, two things. First, the economies in the world over is down. Secondly, the COVID crisis has taken the world by storm. So certainly it's a wrong time actually to invade into a country, and Russia would not really, they're only trying to flex their muscles, and I don't think practically it would be possible. But now seeing from Putin's point of view, well, he would perceive the timing actually to be right to actually think of invading into Ukraine, into Kyiv, in fact, for that matter. And America has been very, very cautious, and they have stayed in a very, very cautious way in not taking any chance, because they always say prevention is better than cure. But now, having said that, different countries, the NATO allies, the different countries, the international community has spoken to Putin. In fact, Joe Biden spoke for about an hour to Putin and tried to convince him and told him that in case this would happen, then he would have to pay severe consequences. It would not be good. But Putin is not listening. But at the same time, they've also maintained that they would not be actually going for an attack. But now it is estimated that before 20th February, that's when the Beijing Olympic gets over. And that is when it is going to, where Russia will actually go in for an attack at Ukraine. So they are being extremely cautious. But let me tell you, now in the Quad meeting and in the other meeting, in fact, in Australia, in fact, there was this meeting held where US had spoken about the 1 lakh troops that Russia has got at the Ukraine border. But there was no mention on the Chinese aggression towards India, the deployment of Chinese army at the LAC. There is much that the deployment of Russia to Ukraine is nothing what China is doing to us. But there was no talk on that at all. Why? I will tell you why. Because the US will be more concerned with the West, with the Europe, and that is why they are focusing their energies there, where the actual evil is at China. Now, when this happens, we saw the resignation of the German chief of the naval staff who had visited India on the invitation of IDSA, and he spoke just off the line of the cuff informally that Russia would not actually invade into Ukraine. So I presume that ultimately this attack would not actually really happen. The tension might rise up. I'll give you an example of the Cold War between America and Russia. That went on for decades together, in fact. So I really do not actually see Putin actually going in for an attack to Ukraine.
Right, sir.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be on your show, to learn from you, and of course from the amazing Major Mohammed Ali Shah. Absolutely outstanding in every which way.
Right, sir. Major Mohammed Ali Shah, now taking the question to you. Do you think that, of course, after the US's warning over Russia invading Ukraine, US also asked its citizens to leave the country within 48 hours. They have also, there are also reports that they are evacuating its embassy in Kyiv. So, do you think that this crisis now, if Russia does decide to invade Ukraine, do you think that this crisis could trigger a possible third world war?
Now, yes. Firstly, let's take a situation where if, God forbid, if Russia does invade into Ukraine, into Kyiv, then what are the repercussions? And would that result in the Third World War? I would say quite unlikely. Now, even if we say that Putin has actually made up his mind of invading into Ukraine, and even after the 62-minute phone call, and despite all the persuasion from the international community and from the NATO allies, in fact, Poland has come forward and told America that we will help you evacuate and from Kyiv as soon as possible. So yes, now and US has also promised Poland that we will be sending additional 3,000 troops over there, which is on the border area, in fact, of Germany, Slovakia, Russia, that side. Now, will it lead to a Third World War? Very interesting, and I'm sure our viewers would like to know this actually. Well, again, the signs would show that it would, but unlikely again, I would say. Why? Because right now, at this point of time, at this juncture, the world economy is suffering, as I mentioned earlier, This COVID crisis, everybody wants peace and nobody would want to meddle their ways. Why is it that nobody is speaking about China trying to act funny with India? It is because obviously the interest lies in the West. Nobody would want to come ahead and, meddle with, otherwise the whole world would have united against China, like in a school, in a class. You unite against a bully and bash up the bully ultimately, so that the bullying does not exist anymore. So now, I really do not think many countries would like to actually participate in it and actually shed their hands with blood. But everybody wants peace at the end of the day. We all want to live in peace. And in fact, I'm sure even Putin wants to live in peace for that matter, though he might be showing those signs of aggression. So unlikely that it could actually lead to a third world war, if at all, given a situation where Putin does decide to invade into Ukraine.
Right, sir.
Third World War, if it happens with nuclear weapon, there'll be nobody left, no diplomat or soldier left to sign anything. We'll go back, ma'am. I suggest you see this, Major Shah bhi dekhega, the planet of the apes. Go back to seeing what will happen if nuclear weapons are used. Major Shah referred to the fact of China's misbehavior. Certainly what is happening in Ukraine is distracting attention of the world from all the nonsense that China is up to.
Thank you for joining with us on the broadcast today.